to our podcast. You're listening to ReelViews, the podcast where we talk about movies and review them. I'm Lydia.
I'm Janae.
I'm Jasmine.
Today we are talking about the Lego Batman movie, the movie for everybody. Today's podcast is going to be covering the messages of the film. Then we're going to be going into the creative decisions and rhetorical strategies of the film with Jasmine. And then we'll be ending the podcast with movie reviews led by Janae. I'll go ahead and jump into the messages of the film. This movie has two central themes. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change. And we are stronger in teams than as individuals. The Lego Batman movie follows the beloved character Batman as he tries to stop Joker's particularly villainous takeover of Gotham City. And along the way, he realizes that in order to save the city, he has to change and accept the help from others in order to truly save the day. I've got some talking points that I wanted to touch on that really portray this message. How does Batman pushing people away make him a bad guy?
Ooh, okay. I feel like it's his refusal to cooperate with others and to see things a different way. And because of that, that often leads to situations that could have been avoided.
In the beginning, his motives are very self-centered.
Yeah.
They kind of mentioned in that one scene, too, with Barbara, and when she was introducing her plan of how she wanted to move forward with crime, Batman hasn't actually captured any of those villains.
Yeah.
He does it because it gives him a sense of fulfillment.
Yeah.
He doesn't do it to actually, rid the town of crime, and he likes the validation that he gets from saving the city so many times. And he doesn't want credit to go to anybody else. He doesn't want to actually become vulnerable or hear any actual solutions. That's not what he's after originally, which kind of takes away the purpose of what it means to be a quote-unquote good guy.
He's only there for the performative aspect and not because he actually wants to help the kids in the orphanage.
Yeah. Even though, both, Robin and Batman are orphans, I feel like they took that kind of loss and trauma different ways. With Robin, I feel like he's like, okay, even though I lost these people, and even though I lost my loved ones, I can still open my heart for more opportunities to be loved and to find love in others. Whereas Batman was like, okay, I've experienced this, and the only way I can protect myself from this again is to make sure that I never experience loss again.
Robin knows the importance of connection. Mm-hmm. Batman knows the dangers of connection.
Yeah.
And I feel like those are two very big core beliefs and values that they both hold.
If he had that validation, would instead of his big reasons for fighting crime be more noble, or would they still be selfish because he would still be seeking that?
I feel like that's a good question. It also kind of ties back to what the floating brick in the Phantom Zone talks about when she's reviewing his case. She says, you're not a bad guy, but you're not exactly a good guy. He's not, blowing people up like the Joker is, but he's not doing anything to solve the actual problems.
Yeah.
He's just another piece
of the cycle,
of the cycle that he has no intention of stopping. Later, the Brick, working in the Phantom Zone, decides that because Batman has changed and realizing that in order to truly save the day, he needed the help of others. This kind of solidifies the Michael Jackson lyrics. The motive is completely changed to, I want to save the people that I love, and becomes selfless. And that's what I think makes him go from someone who deserved to be in the Phantom Zone and needed to go back to someone who gets to stay. I think it's really important to the plot to show his motives have changed.
I think in the end it shows that both Robin and Batman still want family and still want connection. They just cope with it in their own different ways.
I wanted to just really quickly end with this last quote from Batman. This is during the scene where Batman is opening up to Robin before he thinks he's going to return to the Phantom Zone. He says, sometimes losing people is part of life, but that doesn't mean you stop letting them in.
Today's episode is sponsored by Crayola.
With products such as crayons, colored pencils, and even clay, Crayola provides an affordable way for your creativity to be explored. Thank you, Crayola, for sponsoring this episode.
Regarding rhetorical strategies that the movie used, I noticed a lot of lighting usage and the contrast between warm and cool lighting. For example, at the beginning of the movie, when Batman returns to his Batcave and he's staring at the family portrait, the lighting is very warm, it's very orange, and it's very it gives you a nostalgic feel to it. But then Alfred comes and confronts him about missing his family or missing, like, being part of a family. The lighting sort of transitions into, like, natural lighting, and he opens the window to let the natural blue light set in. And I thought that was interesting because it represents how Batman feels about a family. Like, he feels warm and happy, but then the acknowledgement of not having a family is represented by the cool lighting. So I was wondering if you guys had any, like, particular moments regarding the lighting that you remember from the movie, and if anything stuck out to you.
I liked with the lighting, I agree, it was almost like a character itself. And it also helped enhance characters to, like, let the audience know that's what this scene is about. When Joker is taking over Wayne Manor, all of the lighting in the smoke is green. You can tell this is Joker's scene. This is, like, the focal point, even though it's, mostly Joker talking. But I feel like it almost accentuates the character, and I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I like how you described the lighting as sort of a character. Like,
it sets the tone really well, which I feel like makes things easier for the audience to interpret what the filmmakers want them to interpret.
With the lighting, if it's, like, warmer, it's like, okay, this is, like, a more intimate moment. This is supposed to be, like, something important to Batman. It's, like, something he holds close to his heart. But then the second that he's meant to be more vulnerable, it's cooler colors. It's something that it's, like, cool, reserved, and he's emotionally, like, withdrawn.
Another strategy that the movie uses is comedy, and I was wondering how, effective it was in sort of implementing the message of the movie.
I feel like it does a really good job at using comedy correctly. I feel like it doesn't smother the message. When I asked my dad, this is his favorite movie, I asked him why he likes the movie so much, and he just said, great lines, very quotable, makes me laugh every time.
Yeah.
So it reaches a much wider audience. And I feel like you can't get that with a lot of other genres. And it helps make the message more digestible with comedy. In Halberstam's book, Animating Failure, he talks about the purpose of animation, and we wanted to talk a little bit about how we believe that contrasts with the movie.
He's published various books such as Gaga Feminism, Sex, Gender, and the End of the Normal, The Queer Art of Failure, and Skin Shows, Gothic Horror, and the Technology of Monsters. That does sound interesting. I'll check that out later.
This movie uses the uncanniness to its advantage, kind of. Like, I noticed that comparing to the Lego movie characters were, like, the traditional yellow Lego figures, but in the Batman movie, it has, like, normal human skin colors, so I thought that was, more realistic?
Yeah.
In a way. What do you guys think?
Because if they would have just had little, like, yellow Lego Batman having his little, like, brooding session, not really having any of the, like, humanifying features, people could, like, maybe still connect to him and relate to him, but it wouldn't be on the same level as being, like, identifying him as somewhat kind of humanish.
It's a stop motion film.
Yeah.
But it isn't perceived that way because a lot of times in stop motion, you can see the choppiness. It's very obvious that it's been manipulated by hand and that these are puppets, which is what kind of gives the uncanny feeling. The way that they did the Lego movie, they've animated the faces and they've made it much smoother, and even though it's stop motion, they've strung it up in a way where it doesn't look like it's been manipulated by hand. It looks like an animated film.
Yeah. They do use, like, the uncanniness to their advantage, because, like, how you said with, like, the lobster moment, when, like, the pauses that he takes between, like, the little, like, bites and stuff, where it's just, like, bite, crunch, 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 and then, like, a long pause for no reason, and then it's another bite until it's, like, all gone.
Just eating the lobster whole.
Yeah. Eating the lobster whole quietly, I'm like, okay.
Sorry.
But I feel like that's another way that the movie could reach out to different audiences. There were so many different pop culture characters, like Voldemort, and there were Lord of the Rings characters, and
Godzilla just, like,
Godzilla,
I love Godzilla, like, destroying Guy Sauron, and then being like, ooh.
Yeah, exactly. There's those kind of moments. And so you have not only the Batman community, but you have all different kinds of pop culture communities all coming together for this one movie.
Yeah.
I know that Halberstam critiqued Zizek of unnecessarily translating children's movies into modern politics. And I did see some reviews of like the rhetorical characterizations of Batman and the other characters as like modern political figures, such as Batman as Donald Trump or Gordon as Hillary Clinton. I don't know. Do you think? I don't think that's necessary. I don't see it that way. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that people are going to interpret it as they will, and a lot of people see the media as propaganda. I think what Halberstam was kind of getting at is like, that's not the purpose of it. It's not to push this message, but it is a message that people are going to interpret, which I feel like he doesn't talk about a lot in his writing.
Hey everyone, this episode is sponsored by Lego. With a vast array of building sets available, it's a perfect gift for all ages during this holiday season. Thank you for Lego for sponsoring this episode.
Overall, a lot of people agree with that, like, rating, like that high positivity rating on Metascore. It's gotten a 92% overall positive reviews and only 2% negative reviews. And here's some Rotten Tomato ratings and reviews. One of them says, from Charles H., who rated it a 4 out of 5 Rotten Tomatoes, it's not the best Batman movie adaptation because you can't beat the Dark Knight, but definitely the most faithful as the Lego Batman movie adds up to some hilarious, beautifully animated Lego fun that serves as a model for Batman movies. Overall, 9 out of 10, great movie. And then we have another one from Kevin P., who says, a very funny satire and love letter to the Batman lore with impeccable cast, a colorful art style, and some surprisingly touching depth about Batman's personal struggles to find a new family. Also rated 4 out of 5. One of the, like, more negative reviews comes from someone who was not named, didn't use his name, and it states, as a Lego movie, it's fun. As a Batman movie, it sucks. Batman is not a bad guy. The Phantom Zone floating brick is wrong. I didn't like Dick or Barbara in this movie either. It gets everything wrong about Batman, and there needs to be a reboot. And I can kind of see where it's coming from on, like, a little, like, as someone who's really got into Batman canon recently and, like, Batman lore and everything, I can understand that because a lot of the media that has come out about Batman has been him being very, like, brooding and very dark and this, that, and the other. And the Lego movie shows a more, like what's called playful side, like light and funny, which probably doesn't, like, appeal to some audiences, but again, it is a Lego movie. So
that does sound like it was maybe from a super hardcore Batman fan.
Yeah.
Which I feel like kind of really plays into the risks that the movie had to deal with.
Yeah.
There were so many, like, already set characters with really intense fan bases. So there's so many people out there that really love Batman, and there's a big risk that if you don't portray him correctly, then there's going to be a loss of that huge audience that is watching the movie to see Batman. And if they don't like that Batman, then you've just lost a big part of your audience there.
Exactly. What was the target audience? Because it's a toy franchise. So its primary audience is going to be children, but also, like, parents, because who's going to buy the children the toys? The parents. But I feel like it also really well, like, addressed and captured, like, the attention of a multitude of audiences, like the hardcore Batman fans, just people who are like, oh, you know what, something to watch, because what else is there going to do? Just, it's all around, like, a good movie for people to just be like, oh, yeah, I'm interested in this, let's see what's going on, and boom. Yeah, so.
It was super successful. Like, the movie successfully made me feel emotional for a Lego character, a piece of plastic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To be honest, I cried. I did.
I'll admit.
I will admit it. I did tear up a little bit.
I feel like it's proved that it's effective because most of the reviews are positive, and it made 3 times the amount of money in the box office than their budget.
Yeah.
So it had to have been successful. I do think that it portrayed its message really well. I feel like it drew in all different sorts of audience as well. It all flowed together as a movie.
Or here's a review from, like, the Washington Post from Metacritic.com. And Washington Post rated the Metascore 100 out of 100. And Washington Post states, like a miniature universe made entirely of millions of tiny plastic bricks, the Lego Batman movie looks and feels like it could have been put together by a room full of mad geniuses, moving in a ballet of well-choreographed creativity. It's simultaneously epic and humble. That was reviewed by Michael O'Sullivan.
Epic is a very good word.
Yeah.
Our personal, like, reviews of the movie, because I really like the movie. I really feels like it touched really well on kind of, like, familial loss and how it affects someone as a person and, like, their development emotionally and, like, psychologically. And I really like the development in the visuals within the movie, so I think it's a pretty good movie all around. It's, like, versatile and good for families and for, like, just people, like, adults and people in general. So yeah, I gave it, like, a good 8 out of 10.
I also really like the movie. I think as an artist, like, watching the animation and seeing all the lighting, it's really interesting, and the colors they used and what they want to represent with that, and also the themes they hit home, like, they hit close to home, and it's, even though it's Lego, it's super emotional, and I was never a big Batman fan, but after this, I'm like, yeah, Batman is fire. 10 out of 10.
I really, really like this movie personally. It's been one of my family's favorite movies since it came out because you have so many funny moments and really quotable dialogue. It's such a quotable movie, and it's visually beautiful, and it does a really good job of really taking the emotional side of things and the comedic side of things. I feel like it draws all sorts of audiences, so it really is a movie for everybody. There's something for everyone to enjoy in this movie, no matter what, whatever audience member is looking for, which I think deserves like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree.
Sign it out.
Bloopers. Keep it real.